2, 1.
Hey everyone, so welcome to Quest for Glory 2. Quest for Glory 4 just ended with us beating our adversary Adavis, but Adavis was a vampire, so how did he die in the first place? Well, we're gonna go ahead and find out in this game, but before we do that, I'd like to introduce our wait a minute. I just died on the title screen. Gosh, I guess Adavis gets to live after all. Okay, I'm just kidding though. I set that up on purpose. Alright, so yeah, on commentary with me, I have, let's start with Mr. PR Miller.
Hello, my name is Mr. PR Miller, and a long time ago, I had the 100% record until everybody put my time to shame, and I'm just here to stare in awe.
And we got Swim Fan.
Hey everybody, I'm Swim Fan, and I also do this run, but much slower than David does, so
yes,
we're gonna hear about that.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get this started in a moment. First, I'm going to name my hero Questing for Glory 5. That's what we're performing at. Much like the previous run, we're going to be doing 100%. We're going to be getting all the puzzle points, but we're playing as a fighter. So the stats are going to be far more important for a fighter in this game than they were for a wizard in the fourth game. So first things first, Dodge 50 is required for the Eternal Order of Fighters, otherwise we will not be able to beat it. Then there's a solution coming up toward the end game. There's a question in chat, does 100% mean you become a paladin at the end? Yes.
Yes.
So toward the end of the game, there's a rock that I'm going to have to dislodge, which normally requires strength to be somewhere between 120 to 150. That's not happening in that run. So instead, 5 magic for the open spell. Your remaining 25 points go to help in combat. And there's 2 different ways to approach this. You can either boost your magic for better combat spells, or you can stick them into weapon use. I prefer weapon use, because with good luck, weapon use is going to be faster, and for the final fight, you're not going to be able to use magic. So let's go ahead and get this started when I click on Start Game. That's going to be in 3, 2, 1, go.
So what you'll immediately see here is David turns down the detail on the game and turns the difficulty to hard, because he's going to go right out into the desert. And this is sort of a new thing for this run, because we don't have money for this town because we come from a different place. But if we get into a fight with somebody, like a brigand, we can steal their money, and then we can buy some stuff that gets things going a little faster, such as the map and the compass.
Yeah, that's a restore. So the important thing here is that a timer starts from the moment you enter the desert, but the monster is not decided until the timer actually hits 0. So you can save scum to get the correct monster right before it would normally spawn. So we get a brigand, which gets us a little bit of money, which gets us back to town. So an important thing to know is that there are several scripts that will stop you from walking if you're in the middle of walking, but if you're in the middle of turning, then they're not going to stop you from doing that and then continuing to walk. So we're going to be taking advantage of that here to just run away while in the middle of that animation.
Yeah, and run through the wall.
Yeah, walls don't matter here. They're just a suggestion. Oops, sell beard.
So David's going to be selling a beard he doesn't have to get some local money so he can buy some stuff, go on a shopping spree. He picks up some mud to deal with the air elemental, picks up a lamp to deal with the fire elemental. As you'll see coming up, sort of the main story here is that this city, Shapir, is under attack by an evil wizard, Adavis, who is sending elementals of fire, earth, water, and air to the city to bust it up. And we are here to stop them. So David's going to ask the, what do you call this guy? The apothecary?
Apothecary, yeah.
Apothecary, a couple questions, and then he's going to buy a bunch of pills. Those are the healing potions in this game. So he's getting a cure pill, he's getting some vigor pills, which restore stamina, and health pills, which I think you know what they do. So that should be it for today. Now we're going to do a little sleeping until the first elemental shows up. So David is going to get a nice long 5-day nap here. or is it a 6-day nap? 5-day nap, I think. Because this is the fastest way to get to the fire elemental, and he's going to use the incense that he bought from the apothecary to lure it into the alley, drop the lamp, then use a little water to squirt him into that lamp, and he is done. He got him. That was done very quickly and very well.
One of the most common tactics that we use in Quest for Glory games is, and particularly the text parser, is called noun stacking. So if you see David just begin to type in a bunch of extra words at the end of a sentence, the game only takes the verb at the beginning and the noun at the end in order to figure out what action you're going to use. And we use that pretty extensively.
Like right here, for example, buy bag, then buy water bag. By the way, thanks, SwimFan, for pointing that one out to me.
Ooh,
a lot of
water bag, yeah.
Oh, wait.
And then a sword he picks up. So he's betting this guy, the weapons shop owner, that he can beat him in an arm wrestling match, a real fighter move. And the point is to get the bellows, which are sort of the logo of this shop, because, bellows and air elementals, I can think of some things to do. So now we get the first of 2 breaks in this game, or maybe 3, I suppose, where we wait for the poet Omar in the upper left there.
I see it.
Yeah.
Looking good again. Just the 1-minute penalty. No big deal.
I'm getting indications in chat that they can hear us and that we're back. I paused the game, so you're not going to hear any audio here. We good to go?
Hi, this is Natara, your tech person. Because it's back, I'm assuming someone is controlling it. So yeah, go right ahead. Timer's going. Just start up and we'll do stuff in the background. Have fun, y'all.
Okay, all right. Then we're still in the Poet Omar cutscene, which we have to wait through the entirety of. So that was actually one of the best times to get an outage if we were going to get one. So let's just go ahead and continue this, because, it's over. So
there you go. You just finished.
So let's go. Day 9.
So, day 9. This is the day where we can fight the air elemental. And here we go. He queued up tossing some dirt at the elemental earlier. He missed, but he's got another shot. Yes. And now using the bellows will suck him up. So that's done. Now he's going to head to the astrologer, who is going to hear a little about his past And later on in the game, if you come back a day or so later, he's going to tell you about your future, which is filled with fighting wizards and elementals.
I was robbed of sleep.
Oh no! Sometimes the sleep doesn't work. Sometimes you stay on the same day. So another poem about us is really gets you in a real heroing mood.
Yeah, so the Earth Elemental, you do really want to deal with it on day 13, partly because Rakesh is right outside the guild here, so a little easier to reach and get his sword from, but also because the Earth Elemental's spawn rate is higher on day 13, like 65% on the north side of the city.
Yeah,
So,
he came right away, and that's
rude,
not always the
rude.
case.
That was a very mean Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of bad to take all of those hits, not because I was worried about dying, but because you get vitality experience anytime stamina drains or health drains, so that's something to be wary of, because we start with 70 vitality, and we really don't want to get above 75 for reasons that will come into play later.
So now it's time to deal with the water elemental, and then we'll be heading to the Eternal Order of Fighters, a fighter-specific sort of side quest. And we have found a way to make that quest a little easier. The game expects you, after you pick up the Earth Elemental dirt rather, to leave the city, go out into the desert, and do some stuff. And if you don't do what the game expects, some interesting stuff happens. David, I don't know how technical you want to get about this.
So let me go ahead and get into it. There's a global variable set for monster health at some point, and when you enter the desert, that global variable gets reset. But since we never entered the desert, it never reset. So we're going to be dealing with a fight here that used to be the bane of Fighter's existence, but because we didn't reset that health, he's gone.
He just kind of bounces off you.
That used to be the hardest fight in the run, and now we don't have to deal with it anymore. So, and it was SwimFan that discovered that tech.
Me and Santa Claus, the real Santa Claus, figured out some of that. I just kind of stumbled into the last bit.
Well, I mean,
So now,
you discovered it, and then we nailed down what exactly was happening.
Yeah, I could not explain it.
Bald Bull becomes Glass Joe. That's how I think of it.
Yeah, Glass Waleed. So as you see here, David is doing some nice things to this tree, including giving it water and earth and telling it its name, because it is a cursed lady that has turned into a dryad. But thanks to David's hero goodness, she has given him a particular fruit of compassion, which is a required ingredient to a dispel potion that he's going to make soon, in addition to the griffin feather that he picked up at the beginning of the game. His future is dark, so we got that done.
I'm a little tired of having a dark future, to be honest.
Yeah, they should say, you're going to go on a vacation.
Yeah, the Shadows of Darkness is the 4th game. My future is dark.
Yeah. And a last bit to do here, because it is the last day. You're giving back Rakesh's sword. You're going to get into a little fight with him. Rakesh is this Liontar dude who is a paladin who we look up to as paladin in training. Ask about Monster?
Did I? Yeah,
I might have missed it.
That point total didn't look right. Ah, yeah, okay.
Good catch. Good catch.
Good. Very good. Yeah, I missed it. Something didn't look right. It's like you run this game enough with the point total on the top, you get a sense for where you should be at various points, and then when something feels wrong, this feels right.
This feels so right. This beast in the desert was cursed by our villain Otavis, and we just turned him back into a dude, and then he disappeared. So it was another good deed by us. And then we're on the way to the place in the desert, the Oasis. We're asked about the beast we helped. We get some beard from the what do you call that guy? The dervish.
So we're
And
actually
now,
setting up for a little bit of a skip here because on day 16 you're supposed to visit Aziza and get some information about a quest, but you're also supposed to visit her on some other day in order to get information about Julinar. So we kind of want to cut down those visits to just one visit. So we're going to be passing time in a very specific way in the city so that when we get to her door, then it is day 16, but we want time to roll over to day 17 while we are walking in so that she doesn't then do the day 16 cutscene. So instead we sit down, ask about Tree, and so we just got 2 visits for the price of 1, which is very nice.
Yeah, this is a very cool trick put together by Santa Claus, right? He put this together?
Yeah.
And it's very clever, like going on the very last day and ticking over the time at the same time so that you do both visits at once. Oh, how could, I mean, you gotta love it.
Yeah. But now we're moving on to Raseir, which is going to be an interesting portion of this. So Raseir is known for that little bit where you arrive in mid-afternoon of day 27, but your room doesn't open up until night, and you have no real way to pass time. And in previous marathons, Miller put in some patches to just skip that, but now we have some actual time warp tech, which I'm going to be focusing on now. So how does
I will try to explain it to the best of my abilities. I know how to do it, but how it works exactly, not sure. So
that I can help.
One thing to know is that depending when you change screens, when you go from one screen to another, the game, for whatever reason, will either go forward a second or back a second, depending on when exactly you enter that screen. And so what David is doing is timing it very carefully so that every time he changes screens, time is going forward just a tiny little, an extra tick. So every time he goes up and down, he's doing it at a very specific, like, half-second range to make sure that time is going forward. And this gets rid of it doesn't get rid of it. Makes better, a little better, a few-minute wait that you have to do in Raseir here in this bad town Raseir.
Yeah, the first time you come here, and if you're just playing this normally, you have about a 3-minute or so cutscene, or not even a cutscene, just of waiting and standing around. There's no way to rest through, and then later on, you have a longer cutscene or waiting period also. And this tech, like you would think, like just moving it forward one tick. Well, what does that do? Well, whenever you do it over and over and over again, it actually really begins to add up, and it shaves a significant amount of time off the run.
Yeah, I think it's a minute and some. Although in this case, I believe David is stopping it a tiny bit early because he needs to still fight some monsters in the desert. Part of Fighter 100% is you get points as a fighter for killing every type of enemy. That's not true for the magic user and thief. And David is going to do that all now while there is some basically time that he gets to waste. So starting in the day, he's got to kill a scorpion and a pterosaurus, hopefully, one of those big purple dinosaurs. And what he's doing here is when he went into the desert, he had difficulty at high, so it makes the speed of the spawn go faster. And now he switched it to easy, so it makes the speed of the fight go faster, because he can stab a lot, get a lot more stabs in. So here we go. Our first spawn is the scorpion, which is pretty good luck, actually.
Yeah.
And
it wiggled its tail. I don't have the poison cure.
Yeah, when the scorpion wiggles its tail, it has a chance of doing a one-hit kill on you unless you have taken a cure pill. You can't do it afterwards. You have to do it before. So he's restoring some of his stamina to get in some more stabs on this guy, and there he goes. That was pretty good. And he picked up the scorpion tail, which is a component that the apothecary wants, but he's already left Shapir with the apothecary, so he's just going to hold on to that tail for points.
Yeah, you only get points for picking it up. You don't have to actually turn it in. What else do I have going on? Oh, right. You don't want to use the poison cure pill before you take the drink because then it treats you as if you have maximum vitality, and that's not good. But the other thing I want to point out is that in combat, I am exclusively using stabs. And the reason for that is because stabs have plus 10 accuracy over swings. Ow. We do have a Pterosaurus here. Definitely the toughest monster in the game. The strategy I have for this is that the Pterosaurus takes a little bit of time in order to get going, so I have time for a few stabs, but once he starts moving, I run away and I reset, eat health pill regularly.
Yeah, once that Pterosaurus lifts his leg up, he's about to do a pretty gnarly combo on David. So David just takes off and starts the fight again, and heals up, casts Zap on his sword, and gets back in there. And as you can see, it's turned to night because David timed things very well with the time manipulation so that he could kill the first two monsters just before it turned to night, so he can get the night monsters, which are a pack of jackalmen, and you only need to kill one, and this guy, the ghoul.
The ghoul is terrifying because as soon as you run out of stamina, you die. He doesn't take away your health, he takes away your stamina, and when your stamina hits 0, it's game over.
Oh, that was good.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm getting some real good fights here. So that's going to leave, finally, the Jackalman, which is going to be one of the easiest fights that you can get.
Zap.
Did I?
Maybe you did earlier.
Oh, you know what? Just 2 of them. Once you kill one, you can run away, and it counts as credit. And you know what? I think I will go ahead and just run away because my stamina's out. But yeah. Okay, that point total is good. We're good on points.
Yeah, this is the big RNG part of the game you just passed. So we're looking in good shape here. And as David mentioned earlier, that guy with the fly swatter and the fez down there fed him a poisoned drink earlier, which has the effect of making time pass faster. And so we want that drug to work as well as possible, and that's why David didn't take a cure pill ahead of time and wanted to keep his vitality low.
So we have a little cutscene skip here coming up. When you finish this cutscene and you go down, you might see a cutscene of the guards walking away. You don't want to see that because that script takes somewhere around 3 to 4 seconds to dispose, but escape there, go down as soon as possible. You don't see the script and you can just go. You don't have to wait for the script to dispose itself, so that saves a couple of seconds. Which brings us to this room where we're going to give the new Emir's daughter some clothes to disguise her as us and our visa so that she can then get out of the city. And unfortunately, that's going to leave us with this part where we don't currently have a way to speed it up as we know it now. Because if you went out and you tried to just wait until night outside, that would take somewhere around 5.5 minutes for night to come. And even if you then followed that up with the time warp strategy. The time warp strategy does save a lot of time, but for day 28, it's only going to save at most 2 minutes. So you would still end up spending 3.5 minutes trying to spend time until night. Whereas if you wait in this room, then it's going to take 3 minutes until you get captured. So no time warp strat here. Nothing to do but just sit here and wait.
Do we have a ransom for skipping this wait?
I don't know, Paul.
Miller,
I was going to say, no, Mr. Miller, are you throwing any money at this one? Good question.
Oh, that's not what I mean. I just mean, is there one already? Because you know what, I'll put down $300 for anyone who finds a way past this wait.
All right, you're a little more aggressive than I am on that. Yeah, I would definitely add a full C note to that also.
400.
Yeah, there you go, 400. We have bounties for certain skips, and I'm still waiting to pay out on one. I figure out, but it's we don't formally have this, but this is one of those things that this would save like 3 minutes worth of time. So if there's any way to take off significant amounts of time, we're like super interested as a community. We've got like 200 people in our Discord for like this old EGA VGA point and click adventure series. This is just a wonderful series of games that are just held together by coding duct tape, and I love every bit of it because some parts are really abusable and very, very good for us.
Yeah, so I kind of want to pipe in here for a bit because like prior to the last few months, most everybody in the community played the remake of this game, the fan remake. That's partly because there's just none of this Raseir stuff, and no matter what we can do, the remake is faster. So this game has been getting a lot of attention lately, and I'm really happy about that. And it's probably now the most optimized game in the series, period. But it's still slower than the remake.
Did you preload your cast?
Yes, I did.
And this is definitely the longest category on top of things too. David, the fighter 100%, the fighter tends to be the most straightforward of things, but because it actually has to get the points from random encounters, fighter usually ends up being one of the longer categories of the classes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a full series fighter run again sometime soon, I hope.
Hundo?
Anyways, Hundo, of course. I always do Hundo.
He is the
Anyways,
Hundo.
we
Right.
got thrown into the prison here. We're gonna go ahead and run Chopin. We've got another turning isn't walking thing. Uh-oh. You know what? I'll just. This one's not too important. The one later is gonna be important. I didn't turn down speed enough. But hey, now we're gonna finally meet Adavis, and so we're gonna get to the Forbidden City, and this is where some of our best tech has been discovered over the past several months.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago in Questing for Glory, Miller surprised me by showing that you could just run right over the water. Well, you know what? On this screen, they lock keyboard movement, but they forgot to lock keyboard movement. So, whoops, I clicked somewhere, and now I'm just on this upper ledge. I don't need to cross the river at all. I can just stay right here. But wait, there's more, because we've got a lava room here, which used to be the bane of our existence. But, wait a minute. But we can just walk right over the lava if you cast things at the right time while turning. So, yeah, we just kind of skipped a whole lot of stuff in the Forbidden City. I mean, not as much as we could have.
And that was a hard screen, that fire screen normally.
Yeah, that fire screen is super consistent. It always follows the same script, but it doesn't make it any less scary and annoying.
Yeah.
If you run into things at the wrong time, you burn seconds off, figuratively, no pun intended, in a lava room.
Doing
just
first
so
cycle was
cool.
pretty precise.
Yeah.
So that bit of script with the palace guards earlier, where you had to wait for it to dispose, you're going to see it here with the kata. I'm not going to be able to leave the screen until the script waits a few seconds to dispose itself, but that does give me time to use some of my pills. Also prep this use rope command to use. Wait, what rope? I don't have a rope. As it turns out, this screen forgets to check if you have the rope before it lets you use the rope. So, oops. Difficulty hard, because I want this beginning section of the fight to be difficult so that he disarms me quickly. But then I say no so that I can then disarm him, let man, and then finally do that. You have to actually disarm him and let him pick his sword back up in order to get full paladin points. You're fighting with honor. Time is actually going to be coming pretty soon here, as soon as we push Adavis off the ledge here, so which we're going to do by just running up to him. So, time.
Ooh. That's a real fighter move. Just ramming him off the balcony.
Yep.
No subtlety needed.
All right.
There's about 9 different ways to finish that room, and we choose the most brute force way possible.
Yeah, run through the fire.
Well, so the thing is, most of the other methods that would be available, I don't actually have the tools for them. I don't have any knives to throw. I don't have a force bolt spell to cast. So the only solution to me is just, you know what, just run up to him and push him.
Yep.
I do need to let this ending play out a little bit, so that we can then verify the 100% requirements. Because as mentioned before, you do have to get all 500 puzzle points, but this game specifically has allows characters to become a paladin if they meet the right conditions. So in 100%, we do require fighters and magic users to fulfill the conditions for paladin and get all 50 hidden paladin points. I see some comments in chat, no 500 points fail. You'll see them after this ending plays out. You usually see 480 once you've pushed Adavis, but once we get through this ending, we're going to verify that we became a paladin and that we got all 50 hidden paladin points. So when we finish our crowning ceremony here, we should see 550 of 550. And so yeah, you got to get enough paladin points, but for purposes of this, we need all the paladin points. And then we need 75 plus honor, and then we need to have not done any disqualifying acts. Stuff like theft or dishonorably killing an unarmed person or things like that.
Which is why it's important that we only require that for the fighter and magic user. There are exclusive thief points that would automatically disqualify you from being disqualify you from the 550 score for paladin.
Yeah.
Thief paladin, that makes no sense.
Yeah, thieves can become paladins. They just can't fulfill certain points, and then they do end up with 500 points or so.
They're turning away from the craft. I don't approve of it. So this ending here, if you played it in 1990, it might have blown your mind with all these close-up graphics and everyone telling you what a cool guy you are. And then, well, we'll see in a moment.
Aziza is well liked by the Quest for Glory community. She's pretty awesome. But then for some reason, once we get to Zaisha, then it's possible to start entering through the text here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and speed it along at this point.
We stop time whenever the last action happens, which is a holdout from our old rules from Speed Demos archive. But we do require the verification that you got 550 by 550 for terms of video. So your time stops early, but we want to make sure that we got the right number of points.
Here's Paladin. So we did manage to become a Paladin. So did we get all 50 Paladin points? Which we should have if we were polite to Aziza, showed people mercy, gave the sword back, gave money to the beggar twice. We should see 550 of 550. And there it is. That's 100%.
There it is. GG. Successful run.
So yeah, thanks so much for having me. This game has gotten so heavily optimized recently, and the optimization has come faster than I've been able to actually show it off. So thanks so much for joining me in this adventure and seeing how Adavis died. It was because somebody just ran up to him and pushed him.
Yeah, now you have the whole story.
Anyways, we've got Heroine's Quest coming up next by Crow. QFG-inspired game. Very good. Very, very good. I highly recommend it. So stick around for that, please. It's really good.
Great price tag, too. Completely free on Steam and other places. So
Yeah. But you should pay them, because it's a really good game.
Yeah. You get some extra bonuses if you do.